Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick Curtis, Chief Monkey of Wall Street Oasis, and this is Monkey to Millions, a show where you get a front row seat as I mentor young students and professionals to try and help them break into their dream jobs. In the first cohort, you'll meet 4 students, all preparing for intense job interviews while trying to also balance a personal life and schoolwork. The goal of this show is to shine a light on the struggles of trying to break into competitive positions with a non traditional background and to give you a roadmap for your own success. My hope is that as you get to know these 4 impressive students, you are inspired to dream big. Remember, these are real people and this is their true story. Let's get to it. In this first session with Victor, we cover a lot. We dive into his backstory, which includes coming to the US as an immigrant from Turkey and knowing no English when he was 21 years old, getting his scholarship canceled to Pomona when the company that was sponsoring him went bankrupt in the great financial crisis, working for 2 years at 3 to 4 dead-end jobs at the time to put food on the table. Eventually, he joined the Navy as a professional linguist with his knowledge of 4 languages. And even later, after that, he broke into Georgetown as an older, non-traditional undergrad and graduated in December 2019 with a 3.7 GPA. Finally, he secured 2 full-time offers upon graduation, taking a strategy consulting role, only to have it rescinded because of COVID cutbacks in May 2020, right before his start date. I think we could all agree that I think Victor deserves a break. So after reviewing this long and winding path, we spend the rest of this session talking about his goals and taking a closer look at his resume and getting tactical. Listen why I think he needs to reduce the embellishment on his resume, how over-quantification can actually hurt you, and how we're going to approach his candidacy to try and get him into front office IB, investment banking, or at least the top transaction advisory services role at a Big Four. Enjoy. All right, Victor, welcome to Monkey to Millions. This is your first session with me and probably our first kind of mentee that's in the second cohort. So welcome. We've had some great success with the first cohort, so hopefully we can replicate that here with you. Obviously, your background's a lot different from the kind of first cohort, and I'm excited to see what we can do. I'd love for you just to give a short summary kind of bio. Where are you from? Where are you living? What's going on? And kind of what you're looking to get out of this. Obviously a job and hopefully, but in terms of like why you kind of even reached out and the whole point of what we're kind of aiming for.
Absolutely. So my name is Victor Davis, and what I'm originally from is a country called Azerbaijan, but I lived in many different places throughout my life. In the US, I lived in California, and when I joined US Navy, I went to Virginia, I was in Florida, I was overseas for a little while. I got admitted into Georgetown University in 2016, and I switched from active duty to reserve duty. I graduated January of 2019. And when I graduated, I had 2 job offers waiting for me, and COVID hit it hard and hit it badly. So by May, I was told that both of those jobs are withdrawn, and the jobs were in one of them in Utah, other one was in California. Though I was leaning for the Utah because most of my family members live in Utah.
Okay, so real quick, the timeline again. So you said you graduated in January when?
2019. December 2019, December. I'm sorry.
Sorry, December. Okay, so then, so you graduated and within 3-4 months, COVID hit.
Correct.
And so the offers were withdrawn. So you're here sitting now almost a year later.
Yes.
And so so you're in Utah because you have a lot of family there.
Yes.
But you had an offer in California for, what was it, consulting firm or Utah was consulting?
It was a hedge fund.
Okay.
Machine learning hedge fund, and I was kind of in between choosing them or the Utah. But since again the family was living in Utah, I wanted to do consulting, and it was right out of college. And also I was in the reserve, and Utah was the closest place for linguists, so I chose that. So that kind of impacted my decision. But I had a job up until April because I still have to do the reserve yearly duties. So I was there. I was kind of feeling I'm going to have about a month or 2 before I start in early June. And early May, they told me that, well, we have to let go the 15% of the, our own staff and plus whoever we extended the offer.
Got it. So this was in April. You heard about that in, May?
Yes, early May.
Okay. You heard that about in May. And so And then your reserve status, does that pay you partial kind of payment?
Yes, it does. Since I'm a linguist and I speak speakers, please take that with a grain of salt. I do well function. That's the word I use: Russian, Turkish, French, Ukrainian, and Azerbaijani. So they all pay for that, and also it's pretty good partial payment. But I didn't stop there. I started applying to this bunch of staffing companies to kind of work as a contractor. One of them placed me in with the Goldman in their credit and risk department. And
that's recently,
around
that's
2.5
recently.
months.
That's recently, though, right? Or that?
No, I applied right away.
Yeah,
I applied right away. I applied like in May, and in June I passed through the interviews with a team, and they told me that we'll start you as possible.
You're breaking up. Sorry,
you broke up a little. Early August.
Sorry, you broke up a little there, Victor. Tell me, your connection was a little weak. Let me make sure it's not my side. I'm shutting things down. Sorry, but go ahead.
No
yeah, go ahead.
So I applied in May, and early June I passed the interviews with the team with the Goldman in Utah.
Yeah.
They told me that we'll start you off as soon as possible when the background check is done, which it was done early August. Mm-hmm. So it took a little while, but I started there work in August, and I've been there since August.
And what type of work are you doing? So there was not
much of a break.
What type of work are you doing there? Or we're doing there?
So I'm a contractor with them. I'm basically working for 2 or 3 teams. I do compliance tracking. I monitor the ratings. I do a lot of onboarding for the hedge fund and PE firms or other manufacturing, trying to find the right coverage. Mm-hmm. I basically pretty much a jack of all trade as far as the work consists of, but mostly it's a rating control, finding out what kind of entity has fallen off from from A- to A, B+ to B, to kind of know the coverage team to understand that if the risk of this entity either has gone down or has gone up.
Like specific positions they're in or whatever, like
Exactly.
Okay, so it's like middle office, back office type work, it sounds like.
Yes.
And it's like a staffing company. So is the goal here to try and get into a more front office role? Because in Utah, that's going to be tough, right?
Yes.
Or strategy, or strategy consulting. Have you thought about specifically like what you're going after? Because I think, I think there's a couple of things. Number one, you have Georgetown on your resume with a good GPA, right? You graduated with a 3.7?
3.72, yes.
Yeah, so good GPA from a great school, or great GPA from a great school. You're non-traditional though. You have like you're Navy, but you're much older than typical graduates. So tell people why you're so much older. And if you don't mind sharing, maybe you don't want to share your age, but we're going to pretend like you're much younger in your applications. But
that's fine. That's what I just wanted to add one more thing to that piece of Goldman. I applied. The Goldman has this bunch of other banks and the companies have this veteran integration program. I think they started early 2010, 2011. Mm-hmm. So I got applied and got accepted to that program as well. So I have basically this inner access to people who works in Goldman. So I have that much better, I would say, the people who actually works in IBD, merchant banking. So I'm part of that program. I'm working as a contractor. And plus, I'm also the part of that program, which basically takes you as an apprentice, try to prepare you and to kind of, it's another funnel and another path for people like non-traditional people like me, with the military officers are enlisted to try to kind of like.
So you're already in the veteran. Do you know how many people out of that veteran program actually land a job? What percentage?
So this year is different because of the COVID.
Yeah.
So apparently it used to be like a close to 70-80%, and the rest would not be they would choose my job because of the location. They wouldn't want to move, or they found something else. So, but it's pretty high as far as I was told as of last year. But this year, since the cohort is large because it's everything over work from home, the computer, you're not at the offices. So usually what happens, you usually get as an internship 10 to 12 weeks, work for a team, and then you get an offer to come back as
but now the cohort's huge. There's probably like 500 veterans in it, or 1,000 veterans.
135. So the
130. Okay, so not that big.
Yeah.
Okay.
3,000 people applied as far as I know.
And you got in.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good sign. Okay. So, this gives me a really good foundation. So, but like the offers that they give out of that veteran initiation program, are they usually middle office, back office roles?
So I was told it depends. So they have never really cleared that what that means. So I've seen people
but have you looked at on
yes,
LinkedIn and seen what
yes.
they've come out of? Yeah.
Not only LinkedIn, I also have this like inside the business Skype to kind of reach out to people. Most of them work for as a trades and sales. Some of them VIP. Some of them in the back office. Some of them credit. So it kind of very much sprinkled out.
Yeah.
The one issue was that they're far the rank wise they outrank me. They're officers. So I don't know if that factors in.
Are they like MBAs? Like, do they get their MBA and stuff?
Some of them do, some of them they don't.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, we have a lot to work on.
Yes.
We have a lot to do. So, okay. So you graduated a year ago.
Yes.
You have 3.7 GPA from Georgetown. Correct. We have some good things to work with. Things that are going to be a challenge for us. And I don't sugarcoat if you've watched any of this stuff. So a couple things. Number one, your location is probably the biggest thing that's going to be really, really hard. It's a little bit easier now because everyone's virtual, so you kind of can network with everybody. But Utah isn't exactly the center of the hub of. Salt Lake City has some banking, and Goldman has their office there, but a lot of it's more middle office, back office. So, are you open to relocating?
Yes. As long as it's
with your family.
Yes, we're kind of working on it. So it's more of looking at the job wise. If it's a front office, I mean, it's usually, I think it's big cities, New York or Los Angeles. I think that's what I was told.
Or San Francisco, yeah.
Or San Francisco, yeah. So
or Chicago. Are you willing to go to Chicago?
I mean, if I get like a front office job, to be honest, I'm more than happy because given my age and background being non-traditional, I didn't even touch upon why it took me so long to graduate and all that. So if we want, I can actually
let's give the listeners a little bit of a background of exactly, you were born in Azerbaijan, but tell them, and you've lived in a bunch of different places, but tell people why you're past, I think you're past 30 years old, right?
Yes.
Tell people why you just graduated undergrad and kind of like what led you to here.
So basically when I immigrated to the country, I was 21, just turned 21, 22. Yeah, 22, just turned 22. And I got accepted to college here. It was 2008. So as you remember, it was a really bad year for pretty much the economy. It was bottoming out. And I lost my scholarship, private scholarship. I was working for a company, founded by Turkish people, because I lived in Istanbul and I applied to college from Istanbul and I got accepted. So I was kind of using them as like they would finance my education. I would go work back for them after graduation. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, I think fate had a lot of other things in store for me. So they declared bankruptcy. They sold everything and left.
And they obviously pulled your scholarship.
Yeah, everything, absolutely. Yeah. So it took
what school were you at?
I was gonna go to Pomona College in California.
But
I never got to go, never started. So
basically, you were already here in the U.S.
Yeah, I was already U.S. So since I didn't speak the language well, I didn't speak the language at all. So I was gonna start a first year what they call prep school. So they prepare you like English for foreign learners, so you can actually start, learning English basics, understanding reading text and stuff like that, so that you can start as a second year would be my freshman year.
Got it.
So what I did, I basically took their program, whatever they're trying to teach, and I tried to teach myself. Mm-hmm. And while working a bunch of different jobs my God, I did probably like close to 40 different jobs.
Why not go back to Turkey, to Istanbul?
To be honest, I was like a bit more stubborn. So I was like, I did not want to take that defeat. Nothing will stand in my way.
Were you married? Were you married?
No. I married in California. I met my wife 2-3 years later, after that, what happened. So funny story, I met her actually at the mall that I was working. And, while after I was just taking everything in, trying to figure out why it didn't work out. So
you're 22 years old. You're in the U.S. in California somewhere?
California, yes.
Where in California?
I worked in Pomona, California, but it was a mall, and because of different jobs, I traveled up and down to California from north to south, to west to east. I worked in a bunch of different places, but the location was mostly Pomona, but I worked in Los Angeles as well.
So tell me a little bit about kind of how things progressed there, and then when you decided to kind of go to college.
So the one word we describe it kind of sucked because I had
the what sucked?
The life during those 2 years because I had to work like sometimes 30 to 40 jobs to just make the ends meet because there were not enough hours to go. Construction, I did busing, I worked as the drive-through inspection guy, the safety guy around the gated houses. So a bunch of different jobs, and also that the restaurant. This is where I met some recruiters. They found that I speak these different languages, and they told me that, hey, why don't you go ahead and take this ASVAB and see what happens. If you want to go to college, this is what you want to do. The Navy's going to pay for it. And to be honest, that was just my first, and I kind of brushed it off because I didn't think that I would score well, knowing that my English not that good. Mm-hmm. But I sit down and took the test. ASVAB is like a SAT for the college in it.
Yeah, so they're trying to get a sense of your English ability versus, and then all the other languages as well. Are they testing you in Turkish and everything?
They test for the ASVAB to see how capable I am, not just English.
Oh, it's just like more like an IQ / SAT.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And so you did okay.
I did 94 out of 97. I was in the 99 percentile. Yes. So they're like, yeah, do you want to be a nuke? And I said, no, I don't want to be an engineer or anything. I always had this I would say, inclination for languages and cultures because of the places that I lived.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, why don't you go take this Russian, Turkish, and all the languages, see where you're at. And I did Russian, and it turned out that they needed a Russian linguist. But since I wasn't a citizen yet, so I had to wait for my clearance and everything. So I ended up going to ship in Virginia, and every day I'm trying to make the story as short as possible. You're supposed to be on a ship for 24 months. Yeah. But since I got there and I started working on all my qualifications, and I finished them, every single one of them that is required you to do for 24 months, I did it within 4 months. I finished everything. Wow. Yeah, I was the only seaman with E3 walking around with all the qualifications, and that kind of caught the captains, which is commanding officers, attention.
Caught his attention, yeah.
Yes, caught his attention, and he wrote a letter of recommendation for me. And within 7 months, I got the language assignment to Monterey, California, beautiful Monterey, California.
And you got a citizenship at what point?
Yes, within 3 months. Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, so they're like, hey, we need this. He's amazing. We can use him as a linguist in the Navy.
Yes.
Perfect. So it's a lot of translation type work?
Yes, translation and transcription, yes.
Perfect. Okay, so really interesting background. So you kind of started there. That was when you were, 23 or 24 at that point?
24.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so 2 years of pain.
Yes.
To get there. And then so you get to Monterey. What was that like?
Monterey was awesome. I enjoyed diving. I enjoyed surfing. It was beautiful. It was 70 degrees all year round. It was just
and that's when you met your wife?
I already met my wife a year ago in Pomona. So so we were already there, relationship wise. But once I graduated, I took my family with me. I got stationed in Maryland, and I work for the agencies, bunch of and also translate stuff. There, I kind of always this like a burning desire that I never got to graduate school in the U.S. Now that I know how to write, read, and I have all these qualifications, a friend of mine, he told me, we were working across the street. He's a Georgetown graduate. He's like, you should apply. I'm going to write your letter of recommendation. I'm like, yeah, but no one is going to take me. I'm kind of, my age is kind of progressed. It's like, it doesn't matter. People go to college 40, just go straight and apply. And my wife really supported me a lot on that too. Yeah. So I applied. And I went to Germany. I came back, and there's this email saying that, congratulations, you're being admitted to Georgetown School of Foreign Service, which is a flagship school for Georgetown. And it's a pretty good school. So you get to choose your major and everything. I really did not believe that it was me. I thought it was like, Ashton Kutcher would come as your punk kind of thing. So I drove. I really, I'm not kidding. I drove to DC, which is about an hour and a half drive. So I went there, and I went to the admission office. I'm like, look, I'm really happy, but I want to make sure that you guys got the right guy. So they checked my social security name and everything. They're like, yes, you're being admitted into the school. And I was so happy. I gave the admission lady a hug, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't mean anything. It's just I'm so happy. So I went back, and I start the transition. I switched from active to reserve, and here I am. The rest of the story.
And so then you took how long to graduate from Georgetown?
3 years, and it was 7 semesters because there were so many work needed to be done, and I took like 5-6 classes at a time to make sure that I can finish.
Did you work on the side at all? while you were taking school?
I was a reservist, and plus
Okay,
I did
so
some
yeah.
kind of, I tutored people. I did some kind of extra work just to kind of keep the cash coming.
Yeah, and so that was, so after Georgetown, then you moved to, you had, like you said, you just graduated. So now that brings us up to present moment. And so it's been a tough year, in the sense of a lot of tough year for everybody. So we're here, you kind of had the consulting role already lined up, got pulled. You never really had a front office finance role. Did you ever apply while you were at Georgetown to on-campus recruiting for investment banking or any of those roles?
So I think we exchanged emails. I don't blame you if you don't remember, because there are a bunch of people emailing you. So I was really confused what to do. I wanted to choose my career well. So I wanted to try everything. So first year I got to this ISAR Capital. They were doing the front office, middle market, the PE firms. Mm-hmm. So I worked with them, and it was internship, but unpaid. So I can learn as much as I can, put that on my resume. So these two guys, the partners, the small time partners, they were a Morgan Stanley alums. Mm-hmm. And they told me that.
But what were they doing? You said it works with private equity firm. What do you mean by works with private equity? It was a private equity fund, or it was a
private. They were middle market managers. They were their own firms. They would go try to buy firms and sell firms.
Okay, so it was an actual fund. Do you know how much they had under management?
Yes.
How much?
Please don't quote on that. It's been 4 years, but I think, if I believe, it was close to $25 billion. If I remember correctly.
25 million or billion? It's got to be
billion.
Really?
Yeah. If my memory serves me correctly.
Because that would be a mega fund. I don't think I've heard of. Let me look.
Then if it's not, then it's correct, which is what I want.
No, you might be right. Let me look. ISAR Capital, team, what we do.
I remember 25. Maybe it's
no, you're right. We have closed over 18. Well, they've closed over 18 billion of transactions, but middle market. But are they advisors, or are they a buy side? Let me see what we do. Strategic advisory, joint ventures, corporate finance, capital raising, and multilateral. So it's more like a sell side. So they're doing advisory, M&A, and stuff like that. They're not an actual private equity fund, but they probably work with their private equity funds, hire them to help with the advisory.
Yeah. Then you're right.
You can think of it as like a middle market banking shop.
Yes.
Okay.
So those the partners, they worked for, one of them definitely I know, worked for the Morgan Stanley. He was a alum for 25 years. And when he heard my GPA back then, I was already 4.0. And my background story is like, why don't you go apply? And it'll help you to kind of, set up, if you want to do a career in finance, this is what you need to apply. I applied Morgan Stanley. I got a job. Again, it was investment banking, but at middle office in Baltimore. So I got trained. I did work there. And again, this was my sophomore year in terms of like university. I'm no sophomore, but because of the education, how they follows, because of the classes and everything.
It looked like you were on the path to getting an investment banking job.
So what happened, I got a feedback telling me that if you want to speak well in front of the clients, to have this, you have this face-to-face interaction, you need to improve how well you present, how well you actually pull through all the data. So why don't you look into consulting, which is why I started. Again, it was very unfocused because of
Who gave you that advice?
Advisor at Georgetown. And I don't want to throw them under the bus, but this is basically what kind of strayed me from my focus. I would have focused.
You had two investment banking internships on your resume as a freshman and a sophomore. You could have probably had a full-time offer at a front office investment bank, even middle market, whatever, coming out of, if you had been focused. That's really frustrating. See, this is the problem when people listen to the wrong people that don't work in the industry. But anyways, okay, so you're here. So you got the job, you did get a consulting offer, you had a good GPA. So I see it. So I think we should just get tactical at this point. People understand where you're coming from. We've spent a good 20 plus minutes going over your story and stuff. I kind of want to just dive in because I think there's a lot of places. So are you okay? So I don't know if we're going to be able to get you into investment banking because you are so non-traditional and whatever, but I think
I'm sorry. Can you?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know if you want it or be open to it, but would you want to work in a front office investment banking role? Yes, of course. Absolutely. And that would be like a glory of my career, coming from back and starting. And again,
I understand age, but there's literally nothing I can do about that. It's not that I,
Yeah. And so, but like, so I think we can try for that. I think we should go for that, but I think there should be some smart contingency planning along the way. I think we should go for that, but there should be also a smart kind of, a smart angle where we're going for transaction advisory services as well at the Big Four, because the Big Four, it's a feeder straight into banking. So like, if you get a good job from a Big Four, you get that stamp of approval, you're working in the right industry that's giving you the valuation skills. It's just another thing on your resume that's saying, I have the skills for banking. I had the internships in banking in undergrad. Like, COVID threw me off, and I'm a little bit non-traditional. But here's the thing: people are going to. You look pretty young. People are going to see your graduation year and make a judgment in their mind on your age. So I wouldn't even give them the whole big story of like, I'm 30 plus. Like, it's totally. It just messes things up because. Yeah.
May I add something there? I'm working inside the Goldman with the recruiters. I'm reaching out to them with the job IDs and everything. What they told me, I already shared with them that you very graciously took me as a mentee. They told me just prepare for the interviews. We'll set you up the interview.
Okay.
So that's what they told me.
For Inc. at Goldman.
Front office. Yes.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of work to do. So, but I don't want to just put all the eggs in the Goldman basket.
Of course.
I think it's great that you're in there and you have the networking, and we're going to talk about that. But you have to be able to, first off, we have to hit your resume hard, because I think there's a lot of things we can improve so that you look better in the eyes of those front office bankers.
Absolutely.
So like, I want to start there, because before you start going crazy with the networking, we want to make sure your documents, your LinkedIn and your resume, the two of the main foundations, are like super tight and looking great. And so they're like, wow, this kid looks like a shoo-in for blah, blah, blah. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. Do you have something to take notes?
Yeah, I'm taking notes right here.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Sorry about all the tabs, but
no worries.
I'm just going to start from the top and just go down. Okay.
Okay, of course.
So have you seen the WSO template for resumes?
I have not. I was told that I'm going to get an access, and I didn't want to bug you beforehand of our meeting.
I'll get you access to that. Bug me. Definitely ping me after.
Okay.
Don't worry about bugging me. To make sure we get you access to that, I want to get you access to all the financial modeling courses.
Okay, perfect.
And then the interview courses. So yes, we want to get you prepared for interviews that Goldman may give you. Do you have an idea of timing of when they may give you? It's December 2nd right now. Do you have a?
They told me start applying in January, and
okay, so you have a month. Do you have at least a month?
2 months. By early February, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we have a good amount of time to make a lot of damage. So
okay. So I love that.
Yeah. So it's okay. It's not. It would be 3 months would be nicer to do work, but I think we can get you to a place where. So I'm not even going to tell you to do the financial modeling courses, any of that stuff. What I'm going to do, we're going to tighten your resume, because that's like 2-3 days of work of like back and forth with me and you. That's fast, because then we can use that to just do networking outside of Goldman too. We're going to tighten your LinkedIn. Okay. Then we're going to hit technical interviews hard using the IB interview course from WSO. So we want to make sure all your technicals are down. Have you studied for IB interviews before?
I have not. I mean, I did go over, but they never asked because of my veteran. They just asked about the behavior on their level. You got the job.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to actually make sure that your two things, that your technical skills are down. We're going to then gradually we're going to add to your resume some financial modeling training that we're putting through WSO. We're not going to oversell it though yet, because I don't want to be like 50 hours of self-study unless you have the time to actually do it. Because I don't want.
I will do it. Okay. I will wake up 4 in the morning and I will add it.
Okay.
I mean that. I don't please work-wise, do not hesitate.
Okay. So first thing, let's just get this resume cleaned up. So
okay.
So the goal, if you're trying to get a front office investment banking job, what do we want the resume to scream? We want the resume to scream finance skills, financial modeling skills. Okay. Here, when I glance at this, I'm seeing a lot of market analysis research. Like just stepping back and looking at it, I see leadership research, cool, Navy, awesome, but I don't see so much hard skills. And so, which is fair, you don't really have it. So I think what we want to do is, first off, I'll get you the template. There's some things in here that are just a little bit, number one, the bullets are too long. So they need to be punchier, shorter. Number two, some of the spacing is off, like the line spacing between two different rows is different. Your name is way too small at the top. The other font is not bad. This is also 2 pages, which is a big no-no. We always keep it on a 1 page. Okay. So
Yes.
that's going to be, but that shouldn't be too hard. I think we'll probably want to reduce the experience from the Navy since it's now almost 4 years in the past. I think there's some great stuff. So we'll just keep the most impressive things. One thing you did really well throughout your resume is you quantified.
Okay, awesome.
So you did a great job with that. I love that. But anywhere where you did the more stuff, projects at those at Altman, at Morgan Stanley, that was a little bit more like DCF valuation, and we could get more keywords like that. DCF valuation, financial modeling. And if you don't have it here, we could do something under education, where it's a separate thing, and you can say financial modeling training, whatever, Wall Street Oasis, and you can list all the courses. So Excel modeling, and you could say self-study over 100 hours of Excel modeling, financial modeling, financial statement modeling, DCF modeling, LBO modeling, and M&A modeling. So you have like those 6 foundational things, and you can have like PowerPoint. We don't have the PowerPoint course released yet, but you can have the PowerPoint for finance course there listed as well, on accounting. So that way, like, those keywords are there. So it just helps your resume, like at least somebody doing a keyword search, your resume is like in some sort of database. They do a keyword search for like financial modeling or like PowerPoint skills, like your resume will pop up. Because your GPA in your school are so good, you're gonna get through a lot of the initial screens.
I see. Patrick, quick question.
Yep,
just quick question. So I was told by the recruiter at Goldman, she works, and she told me that to put my contracting job, which I start August, to make it the Goldman, because I still work for Goldman, even though I never,
I would, yeah. I mean, I would.
But it's up to you.
I would, yeah. One of the things I was going to say is the big problem is the big gap. August 2019 to now, it looks bad. It looks like you've just been unemployed since a year and a half.
Oh, but what about education? Because I started 2019 to December. I was at school.
To December. Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's true. You graduated then, but even since December, it's been a year.
I see.
You do not want to have a huge gap. A gap on the resume is just red flag, red flag, red flag.
I see.
Right. So you want to show that you've been doing something, and like even under the educate, that's where the education can help, and that's where the courses that we're going to give you can help, because you can say that you started that. You don't have to say you started December 2020. You say like, whatever. We'll just say like February 2020 through present. You're still studying it. And if you just ramp up and you do 100 hours across those, the courses themselves should take you 50 to 60 hours. If you're a little bit rusty and you're not good in Excel, maybe a little longer to get good without the mouse.
I took an Excel course on Coursera. Okay. From beginning to advanced, a bunch of them. So I think I should be fine. I'm not saying I'm expert, but I've been at advanced
take the level. WSO one, because it's more geared towards finance, and it's going to really train you, and it's going to hammer the stuff of not using your mouse and drilling the quick keys, which is like critical. It's not just about, there's this special way to sort data. There's a special way to sort data, and here how it would apply to the job in this context.
Awesome. Definitely.
So do that, and it's just a good way to refresh and keep your Excel skills sharp. And we have benchmarks and all that stuff. So to make sure you're like fast enough, you'll know, hey, if I can't do this in 5 minutes, I'm not good enough. Or if I can't do this in 2 minutes, I'm not good enough. And so you just drill and keep doing it over and over again till like you're not even reaching for the mouse. This little motion, if you find your hand going like this, it means it means you haven't learned it. If you're actually going click, 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 even if you're slow, really slow at the beginning, going Alt, E, S, T, paste, special, paste, value, paste, that's fine. But just keep doing it that way, because it's like learning an instrument. So you have that instrument under your belt, you'll feel a lot more confident too. You're going to get the accounting background, you're going to get the financial statement modeling background, and then the investment banking interview course, we're going to spend a lot of time on that. So I'm going to put you through a mock interview.
Please do.
Ideally as early as next session.
Awesome. So quick question on that. Would you please, after maybe this, like I'll ping you, and if you can kind of give me that which one to focus first, Excel or where to start, an hour that you would recommend, that would be awesome. So I can structure all my schedule around those.
Yep. Yeah. So let's do this now. So first thing is resume. So let's clean up your resume. I want it in the WSO format. I'll send that to you. So your bigger name, only one page. Add to the education section the stuff about financial modeling training that we're going to be giving you. And just put it in there for now, and say something along the lines of like over 100 hours of self-study in Excel modeling, financial statement modeling, DCF modeling, and we'll have that. And you can send me a draft. So when you have it, send me a draft and I'll review it. And then the other stuff, reduce Navy so that it's less. So let's just go bullet by bullet, and I'll tell you kind of where I feel like it's stronger. So Altman research and analysis helped develop. So help develop, not developed.
Okay.
Yep, help develop. So there's a grammar typo in your first line of your resume.
Yes.
Okay. So help develop and launch an extensive survey to better reach target audiences in the sports industry. So you launched a survey.
Yes.
And
build a model, viewership model, but yeah.
What does that mean? Build a viewership model.
But basically, we use based on the survey, we program that into the proprietary program that we're using and trying to figure
What's the program? What's the program called?
May I get back to you on that? It's been a year. I think it was not a Survey Monkey. It was it's like an Excel kind of program, but what it does, it gives you a bunch of information, who's watching what and when, age group, and what is preferred, where do they watch. It was basically for the firm to kind of partners take that and go sell the service to this NBA, NFL, MLB, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It sounds like you just created it. It sounds like you just created a survey, which isn't very impressive. Okay. I think the pricing strategy might be more interesting.
Okay, cool.
The one thing you said, pricing strategy, advise leading educational organization to optimize pricing. So it sounds like it's a little bit like you're trying to use big words or make it sound more fancy than it was, which is fine to do, but you got to be a little bit careful with this, that you don't go overboard. So like when I read advise leading educational organization to optimize pricing strategy for reporting, data exchange, verification, research services by studying target market, by building pricing and product simulation model, resulting in 10% improved analytical capabilities of the client. How do you measure a 10% improved analytical capability?
So I took this from the guy who see me. It was an analyst.
Sorry, you broke up.
Basically,
Victor, you broke up. Sorry, you took this from the what?
Yeah. From a person who was working for analyst, and it was also my mentor in this study.
What do you mean you took it? What do you mean by you took it over? Sorry, what do you mean by you took it over?
What I mean by that, I ran that to kind of to add this to my resume, what we did and how should I go about, kind of putting this on my resume. And a 10% improvement analytical capabilities. Basically, they gave us a database. It was all mixed information, and it was not intelligible of anything. So I put that 10% as more of on the conservative side that helped to streamline their information
when you say
repository.
It improved analytical 10%. What does that specifically mean? Does that mean it saved them 10% time in doing stuff?
10% time and efficiency.
Oh, well, then we need to say that. Is it 10% better pricing?
Okay. No. 10% efficiency and it saving time and efficiency, being efficient.
So that's different from analytical. That's different from analytical capabilities. Were they more accurate?
I see.
10% more accurate? Were they 10%? So I think it's very important to be specific. When you say 10% improved analytical capabilities, it just sounds like BS because it is BS. So and like anybody's gonna, if they're a jerk, like I'm being a jerk right now, they're gonna throw you under the water to be like, what the hell does that mean, man?
Yeah.
Or they're just not even going to ask you and they're just going to roll their eyes. Your first line on pricing strategy has a higher line height than the other two lines. So it looks really weird. It's like a paragraph. Number one, it's way too long. It's like you want like literally one line there or two lines, 1 to 2 lines. It should never go, it can occasionally go to 3, but I prefer to just have it 2 lines for each bullet max. So advise leading educational organization to optimize pricing Optimized pricing strategy for reporting, data exchange, verification, research. Like, do we need all that?
No, of course
Optimized pricing
not.
strategy by studying target market for client, and building pricing and product simulation model using what program?
I will
Excel?
get back. Yeah, most we did use Excel a lot. There was like a proprietary program that they
But it's a
used. I will try
simulation
to.
program that might be interesting. So it just makes it more
Yeah,
tangible, right? That you actually
I
did
see.
it.
I see.
Resulted in 10% improvement in
Efficiency,
efficiency,
efficient
time
time.
efficiency, time
Yes,
improvement in running reports or something like that.
yes, yes.
Saving
Okay.
whatever $200,000 a year
Okay.
because they don't have to hire an extra analyst to do this. I don't know.
Yes.
If you can quantify that would be.
I will. I will. Cool question. So,
Yeah.
do I get rid of research analysis? That's going to be just one line under.
I would put it. I'd do a one line, and I'd put it under the pricing strategy.
Just one line, the one bullet. That's all.
Yeah, and so instead of help develop, launch extensive survey to better reach target audiences, you could, and led data collection analysis. Sounds like you're a monkey, a back office monkey. So I don't want that. I think it's cool. You could say, I would just say, instead of research and analysis, I would call it modeling analysis or model construction. And you have built 5 viewership models for the NBA, NFL, and Major League College football and outline strategic recommendations for final deliverable. But like, what was that? And what was the result of it? So the viewership models help actually project how many viewers are going to be.
You project who the viewers would be and where their basic profitable segments lie. Old viewers, young viewers, and what they watch, when they watch, and how they watch, what medium they use to watch.
So you helped build these models using some sort of program that we don't know about.
It was a team of 10 people. Yes.
Okay. I would shorten that to like
but
one. I would shorten it to one line, get more specific if you can. The 5 viewership models for those is good. But yeah, we're one line for there, maybe 2 lines for the pricing strategy. Instead of calling it research and analysis, I would really have it be about building that model because it makes you sound more technical. But like the analysis, it's just vague. Data connection and analysis. Well, what specifically what program were you using? What type of analysis specifically were you doing? Is it a viewership projection model? What do you mean viewership model? Like, I don't know what the hell that means.
Projection model.
Just say projection model. Projection's a good word to have in a financial resume, right? Because outline strategic recommendation for a final deliverable. You don't even need that necessarily there. I'd have pricing strategy up front with the percentage increase on efficiency, modeling analysis, and then boom, boom, boom. Even better.
Okay, so
if you can do this in the structure, you'll see on the template I send you, it has like it has selected. There's something called selected engagements or selected transactions. So it makes it sound, so like you have the title of the company and the dates you work there. Below that, you have a couple like general bullets of like your overall role there, like research and analysis, financial modeling, Then it has selected transaction experience. For this, it's more like it sounds like you're more of almost like a consultant, right? At Altman?
Yes.
So you can't say transaction because there's no transaction happening here. But you could say selected engagement experience. You make it look like an investment banking resume. Selected engagement experience, and you have like you call it a one of them could be educational, multinational educational conglomerate, whatever. Big educational organization. I don't know how big it was. $500 million educational business, and then
it was a US based one. It was a NGO. But basically, they were trying to. It's what they do. They track people who graduate high school, where they go college, if they go to the vocational schools, and what their life outcomes based on those education. How much money they make, and if they graduate college, how long does it take?
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's all great, but we don't have the room for that. So what I want is like a short 2 or 3 word thing of like how do we NGO, educational NGO, so selected engagement experience. Underlined, and then below that there's like 2 engagements. One is with the who were you collecting this stuff for the MBA? Who was doing that?
But this was for internal for the company, so
Why?
the partners can go on because they wanted to sell. This is a project, they will sell project, and this is what they can go and knock down the doors, MBA or MLB. This is what we can help you.
Okay, so that's a little harder. So you only worked on that one deal. Well, it was the summer only. You only worked with that NGO in the summer, and then you did this internal research?
Yes, because it was 10 weeks.
Okay, so you could say on the first one, you could call it NGO, blah, 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 and do the thing with the study market, optimizing pricing strategy. And then on the second one, selected engagements, you could call it internal research, building models, modeling, viewership models, projecting out to help with projections on markets for the NBA, NFL, MLB.
Okay, definitely.
So let me
price strategy comes first, then the internal research modeling.
Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'd have them both under selected engagements. And the internal one isn't really an engagement, but we're trying to make it look as much like a modeling or selected projects, you could call it. Even I'll take a look once I see it in kind of revised form. Same thing. So Morgan Stanley, kind of summer financial analyst, investment banking division, financial analysis. You were doing P&L for 10 convertible bond products, recording syndicated trading and operations. Increased database efficiency by 5%. How did you increase the database efficiency? Time-wise,
I reprogrammed their work, so it would cut the basically middleman.
What do you mean reprogrammed? What did you use to reprogram?
So basically, it was the tasks were disseminated among 4 or 5 people, and everyone had to do a part. I just basically took all that task, automized them using Excel. How? Yeah. So it was just basically running macros instead of sending one by one.
Okay, say that, dude. Say VBA macros. Save 5%. Come on. Okay. That's like a huge deal.
Okay.
Do you know macros? You know VBA?
Yes. I mean, I'm not expert, but yeah.
But it's I know you did something with it with work that helped a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So instead of calling financial analysis, which is super vague and bullshit, you can say Excel VBA.
Okay.
And say specifically what you did. Increase database by 5% by, both. That should be the thing that goes in front. Data gathering and communications. They may ask you, how did you get to that 5%? You have to be, in the interviews, I'm going to push you on the mock interviews to be ready to answer those questions. So specifically how you calculated the 5%. Not, I asked a buddy of mine, an analyst, he said to put 5%. Okay, you're going to get eaten alive if you say that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can say, I can see that people were working this many hours on it. Across 4 people, we were working approximately 10 hours each, so about 40 hours a week. With the macros, that dropped to 30 hours or 35 hours. There's 5 divided by that would actually be more like 15% or whatever the math would come out to be, but that would be better than 5%. So we may actually be able to bump it. But we have to have some numbers back there showing you have to be ready with that. Okay. Okay. Data gathering and communication assisted in the production of the weekly management committee report and provided a weekly presentation on equity and debt deals valued. Sorry, I'm looking at this. This contributed to a 10% in client management efficiency. It feels like you're forcing these efficiency 10%. I like the quantification and it's good, but it feels a little forced on this when like the main point of the bullet is that you're presenting.
I see. Okay, get rid of that.
The main point of this bullet for me is saying you're comfortable presenting in front of a management committee.
Yes.
You provided the weekly presentations. What does that mean? Provided did you deliver the weekly presentations ever?
Yes, I did. Yes, it was basically
to how many people?
Sometimes were 30 people, but it was across the timeline. It was Morgan Stanley Japan, Morgan Stanley South America, Morgan Stanley Poland.
Okay, so but around 30 people, you delivered a management committee report. You stood up and delivered it a presentation, or you're just communicating to them?
I was in front of a camera and they were watching.
Okay. That's
So
good.
basically everybody was joined.
Yeah. So you could say assisted in the, so that should be first again. You could say delivered, not provided, delivered weekly presentation to up to 30 VPs on equity and debt deals valued at 500,000 and above. Why are you saying valued at 500,000 and above? Why
Because
that?
most of those deals, that's what they were interested in. Anything less than, we have to prepare this report
So
for the competitors.
what was the range? 500K to what?
500 to 50 million.
Okay, so just say that. So what was the highest one you worked on? 50 million?
20.
Okay, so say 500K to 20 million. So you could say delivered weekly presentations on equity and debt deals, and you can put in parentheses, not valued at that. It's very wordy. You should put parentheses 500K to dash 20 million, close parentheses.
Okay.
So instead of and above, instead of a global audience of executives, just say they're up to 30 vice presidents. So delivered weekly presentations on equity and debt deals valued to 10 to 20, 30 VPs, VP.
It was VP and MD all considered. Everyone was there. A lot of VPs and MDs.
Okay, so you could say to 20 to 30 VPs and MDs.
Okay.
And get rid of the contributed 10% increase in client management efficiency.
I will.
Okay, because that's the macros thing's great, and I think that's easy to point to the math of how it improved efficiency. There, it's a little bit of a silly thing to add. Say project management co-managed to it. Okay, good. Project management co-managed to intern project and play research. So again, I think under Morgan Stanley, I think you should have like a selected internal projects.
Okay.
The problem with this is, again, there's no transaction experience. At Iser, did you have any transaction experience where you worked on specific deals?
No, I did not. I helped with them.
Project coordination, coordinated and helped to manage 2 client projects, completing the assigned research analysis of a benchmarking metric 17 days ahead of schedule. I love how you quantify. For the sake. No, it's good. It's good that you're quantifying, but like we have to ground it in we have to benchmark it a little bit. So like 17 days ahead of schedule, like I don't know what that means, like.
So I was told, I was told, for example, August 5th is the last day. It needs to be in August 5th. And it was like a July 14 or 15.
No, it's fine. We just have, I think we just need to, I love the fact that if anything, you're over quantifying. I love that. It's almost always the opposite. So I love the fact that you're going for it and you're quantifying because it does ground it. So let's just stay on the Morgan Stanley. So co-managed 2 intern projects and completed research analysis of 3 joint venture documents, 7 days ahead of schedule, resulting in vice president level approval on all deliverables. Co-managed 2 intern projects. What types of projects?
So they were basically trying to two things. One was internal training, and what kind of training is available for the newcomers freshman class. Yeah. And it was, again, a bunch of documents. It was dumped on everyone. So we basically, what they did was streamline that. We put in the step-by-step, what you need to expect in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months in the jobs that we do. So that was one of the projects. Second project was that in 2008, I think Goldman or Mitsubishi bought some of the Goldman. So they were sharing the profits based on those documents, but there were tons of agreements all over the place. So what we did, again, we tried to figure out the way which documents are used most of the time, 80%, and based on what criteria. So that was the project that I worked on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, we gotta think about what we're doing. I mean, it's a little all over the place. And, we're saying investment banking division here, but really you're kind of middle office, back office.
It is middle office, back office. I think I did mention that.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's under the investment banking division. It's just, it's almost like I want to get to the stuff. I want to emphasize your education, your financial modeling. I want to de-emphasize all this research and management, and you get enough leadership from the Navy, right? So like we have that, we have a good GPA, we have a good school. What we don't have is any deal experience. So anything we can do. So I almost like want to eliminate that whole bullet
Okay. Then project management.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna need a room anyways for adding the current, so I definitely need to eliminate
I
a lot
think
of.
almost eliminating that, because it makes you sound like you're trying to be my worry is they see you're old, then you think, oh, project manager, what do they think you're going to come in as an associate? No, you're coming in as an analyst. So you want to downplay anything where you think you're a manager. You want to come in humble, 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 humble. So like, I am ready to eat SHIT. Okay. And like, I know nothing and I am just ready to work like a dog. And so if that's the attitude, we kind of want to shy away a little bit from like I am the leader, I'm managing all these people and I'm 30 plus years old and I'm looking for an analyst role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep going. I think we're making good progress. So
yes.
IZAR Capital. So let's see what we can do here. So this is like a middle market investment bank from what I could tell.
Yes, my first internship outside of financial industry in the private sector. I've never had the professional job. This was unpaid internship, and I'm happy that they offered this to me.
Yeah, no, this is great. So so a lot of your bullets and what I've seen throughout all of them is they're vague on the specifics of the skills you use, the programs you used, yet they're oddly specific on like numbers. Like you're throwing numbers in to quantify, but it's not specific enough on okay, prepared biweekly meetings and drafted 10 presentations on macroeconomic analysis. That's this big. Investment opportunities, risk assessments. It's like these big, broad terms where I think you're getting at a lot, the space you're using there, I think you're getting it, and then you say contributed 50% efficiency on the responsiveness of a client. Like you're saying, I did all these big, broad things and it responded to this exact 15%. So it just seems a little odd, like you're forcing it. I rather have rather than it being like market analysis, like these big skills, I'd rather it be project based. So I want to take your resume. So instead of skills based work where you did all these kind of large things that led to like some sort of arbitrary specific percentage increase, what I'd like to see from you is project based. So the bullets, the selected transaction experience, the selected engagements, whatever the hell we want to call selected internal projects, selected engagements, selected deal experience. Ideally, we could say transaction experience, but we can't really say that unless you remember a deal that you worked on for presentations for specific clients. That's what we would want in here. If we could get the word pitch book in there somehow. So instead of presentation, we say pitch book. Instead of, for example, the MBA thing, you said that was so that it could go out and pitch.
Yes.
Potential clients. So maybe up in that initial bullet, we get the word pitch book in there to aid in pitch book development, something like that. You really want to get all the buzzwords in here where people are like if they glance at it, they'll be like, oh, he worked in pitch books. You know what I mean? Or if they do a search. So that's good. But really your whole thing is like market analysis, financial analysis, executive presentation, and that's all good. But I rather the brain of like the banker is going to be very much like, what transactions did he work on? And this doesn't like, what? I'm not going to read these. This is all text. Like I can't read. No one's going to read this. But if they see project-based thing and they see $500 million NGO, blah, 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 and it shows specifically like worked on 5 models to worked on DCF analysis valuation, worked on for market pricing to build this product, They see that, they'll be like, okay, it's kind of bullshit. They'll say, okay, it's kind of BS because they're not really transactions. It's just internal engagements. But he's smart enough to know to structure it in this way such that it looks like actual deal experience and you're selling yourself well. And that's what banking is all about. It's about selling yourself well. And you're not overselling. So you're not forcing in these weird efficiency metrics that you're making up that when I push you on in the interview, you're not going to fall over like somebody told me to do it. You're actually going to tell me, here's the math behind it. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
So work on it.
Yeah. So I think for all these, for IZAR, advise senior management on 3 key industry and company trends. For what industry?
It was mostly transportation, mostly, and also worked in the food.
So like under selected engagements or selected projects you could call it. instead of market analysis, you could have transportation market analysis. And guess you're advising you on 3 key industry and company trends. What were those key industry and company trends for what company?
Healthcare, consumer packaged goods, and infrastructure. I added at the third sentence there.
So those are the key industry?
Yes, those 3.
Oh, I thought you were saying 3 trends, key industry and company trends. So a little bit is like the English is not being your native language. There's a little bit of like lost in translation where I thought you were saying this, and later in the bullet you're describing the 3 different industries. I thought you were talking about 3 different overall industry and company specific trends. Collected, translated, and analyzed over 100 proprietary third-party information sources. Again, very vague. I like quantification of the number, but what do you mean by sources? News sources, data sources, like what?
Data sources.
So say data sources and give a few examples.
Actionable data sources, not just information. Who does what? Who's a market leader? How much market share they have, and what they're going after.
But what like Bloomberg? What were you using? Like terminals? Were you using paid services?
And I used Morningstar, and again the IZAR's own proprietary system. I don't know what's the TM something called. I don't remember the name, but it was basically the people that they're working with, the company that we're advising. They would dump the information there, and as an analyst, and I was intern, we just go in there and try to
that's vague. It's vague, man. Your story. I think we're going to come up on this when we go to the behavioral interviews. Your stories have to get a lot better when you're talking about your experiences. You should have, and that's what we're going to restructure your whole resume. It starts with this: it's restructuring your stories. It's like you have along all these experiences. I rather you have only 2 bullets under each one. I rather them just be project-based things that you know really well, where you can quantify legitimately, and it just focuses on stuff that's going to be attractive to the banking. We don't have to, you shouldn't be, don't feel forced to include everything you did there.
2 bullets under each and quantify and be as
technical as you can be.
Yeah,
as technical as you can be, meaning do the stuff where it's like the most like modeling, the most like projections, the most like P&L, the most and then have one in there about like the presentations you did to the VPs and MDs. That's good. I think that's a nice one to have there. And then let's keep going on IZAR. So that first bullet is just all over the place. It's like I feel like you're just throwing, like I'm confused. Like I don't even know what the hell that means. I have no idea what you're saying.
Okay, I'll work on it.
So advise senior management. Okay, so you talk to senior manager on 3 key industry and company trends. I don't know what industries you're talking about here in the front. I know you tell me at the back, but I don't know what you mean. So informing 20 potential investors. What is informing? Like you're pitching to them?
Yes. I mean, I was pitching my senior advisors, and they were basically, hey, Victor, you worked on this. Tell them about what you've seen. What are the trends? What we're looking at. I put informing, but I guess my vocabulary.
But okay, so yeah, I think one of the issues throughout the whole thing is a little bit of thesaurus problem, or where you're trying to sound more fluent than necessarily you are by adding in words that are a little bit more fancy than they need to be for certain situations. So like what's happening is it's actually making your resume more wordy. So that's why you're getting a lot of bullets into these 3 lines. It's less punchy. It's harder to read. There's less white space. So white space is critical. So not only do you need a little bit more space for your latest role at Goldman in the VIP, I want the venture veterans program in there, and I want the role. And I think you should have that in one thing up at the top.
Okay, I was told to put that under leadership and activities, which is what I put there.
Oh, okay, I see it there. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, we're gonna need a lot of room. That's the only reason I might squeeze it into there. Just have it as a bullet under Goldman.
Okay.
And that might be the first bullet under Goldman because it kind of emphasizes. It says it gets at the top that you're a veteran.
I see.
And so any other veterans that see this that want to help out another veteran, guess what? They're going to give it a good look. And then if we just clean up the rest of it and make it sound a little bit less flowery and BS-y and give it a little more tangible things, and then we work on your stories around behavioral interviews, I think it's going to be a lot more impactful and get you a lot more looks. Because right now, totally.
Patrick, I just want to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to recap this because I want to take notes. So you want the Goldman VIP first and the contracting, the second bullet. That's the first thing started. Okay, good. And then move on to the next one. Every single one of them, 2 bullets. Pricing first, research analysis, make less bullshitty and less. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to.
No, you can curse. You can say less bullshitty. That's fine. So less trying to make it sound fancy, more just specifically what you did and what the result was. And a little bit more financy, like if you can make it sound like projection, be more specific about the. I think the problem is you're trying to describe what you did in a lot of ways. So you say like led data collection and analysis. Let me give you another example. Assisted in the production of the weekly instead of just like delivered presentations, and provided weekly presentations. So instead of just delivered weekly presentations on equity that deals value to this many VPs and MDs.
I see.
Which is it's impressive, but guess what? They're never even going to read that because it's
I see.
Jumbled with lots of other words around it to make it sound more. It sounds more sophisticated, but what it ends up doing is just you lose the whole thing. People are going to start reading and get lost. So I don't mean to be a jerk. I'm just trying to.
No, please do. No, please, because this is the honest. We're not
going to get there in this next revision. I don't expect it to be perfect on this next revision. I expect it to be a mess on this next revision. And then I'm going to go in and actually what I might do is just record myself going in and changing words on the next one and actually just sit here with you and just finalize each word, each bullet as we go. I just want to get it a little bit closer because I don't want to have to redo this whole thing, getting in the right format. So let's keep going because same thing with the ISAR. Let's go to the Navy.
Okay. I took the notes.
Senior voice, graphic, and multi-source analysts.
And this is the hardest part because this is most of the stuff I did was classified. And I had to run this by the Navy. So I just put as much as I can without further, I sanitize it. That's why. Yeah.
Senior voice, graphic. And so do we have to say /graphic?
I know. We can't.
What does that mean? Senior voice and senior voice analyst? Is it like a linguist?
It was a program both used the voice and the graphic. So you have to understand the language being spoken and also the decipher the graphic.
We just call you a senior linguist and multi-source.
Yes.
And then get rid of multi-source.
Yeah, senior linguist analyst.
Senior linguist analyst, I would just call it like that. Or language analyst, something like that. Even just something
senior language.
Something easy for a finance person to understand. What will you do? Oh, you specialize in languages. Like voice, graphic, multi-source. Like what the hell is that? You know what I mean? So again, we're trying to make it more clear to the person who's not, who wasn't with you in these internships, who didn't know what you did. So, okay, cool. So you specialize in different languages. We may actually want to put up there something about the multilingual. But let me read this. So team leadership led a team of 4 cryptologic technicians exploiting signals of interest to identify, locate, report on 10 worldwide threats, resulting in successful completion of the task 1 month ahead of schedule. I don't know what task you're referring to. What task?
Task was locating interest. Identify, locate, and report. Task was that the threats, the U.S. Navy, and national interest. That was a task.
But you said 10 worldwide threats, and then you say the task. So was it one of the 10?
Oh no, all of the 10s. I would probably should have the tasks probably at the S.
Yeah. They were all completed 1 month ahead of schedule.
Yes. And I'm serious. We were given like a 5 month of to kind of come up with this.
Okay, so they gave you these 10, and you were able to basically identify them. So it really is a language thing here, because you know what this looks like. This looks like you said. I led this team of 4 people. We were given a job to indicate these 10 world affairs, and then we found 1 month ahead of schedule. That's what it looks like. That's what it reads like. So led a team of 4 cryptographic technicians exploring signals of interest, identify, locate, and report on 10 worldwide threats. So resulting in the successful completion of the task. You leading the team didn't result in the successful completion of the task necessarily. The result was that, what does that mean? You were able to identify, locate, and report? You're able to identify and locate these 10?
So those 10s that were given, we basically identify what they are, where their location, what their past activities, and what kind of threat they possess. All that information, all in the report, all 10. How? Using my language skills.
Okay.
Researching.
So you were able to you were translating during that. You were helping the other ones translate, directing the team.
Translate. Yes.
Okay.
Transcribe, put in a reportable format, so I can actually.
So let a team of workers, instead of exploiting the signals of interest. So again, we're getting flowery. It's a flowery. I call it a flower. What do we call it?
Bullshitty.
Yeah, exploiting signals of interest. What it does to the reader is you lose them earlier. And you don't need to do that because you have a really impressive background. You don't have to make it sound more impressive than it is. It's impressive. You don't have to. So led a team of 4 cryptologic technicians to identify, locate, and report on 10 worldwide threats. Successfully completed.
Patrick, one thing, please. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I went over this with 10 different people in the military and 10, 15 people at Georgetown. And I did this based on what they recommended. Yeah. So I would say they say, "Oh no, this is not horrible.
This is not horrible. This is not horrible. I'm just seeing a pattern through your bullets.
Yeah.
That it's really impressive what you did. I think somebody may push you in the interview, say, well, how did you actually do that?
I see.
And if you do you talk like that? You say, well, I was exploiting signals of interest.
Yeah. Doesn't sound.
No, you would say I was using my language skills to do research on a bunch of different data sources, including stuff that's classified that I can't tell. But we have data sources and different signals that come in through these systems and in different languages. And so it was my job to split up the team and to divvy up the projects and the work from different sources. I had to review the work, make sure that the translation was accurate on in this language, that language, that one. That's what I want you to be like.
I see.
But for this, it's really more about just getting it across what you did. So let a team of 4 technicians to identify, locate, and report. So just get rid of exploiting signals of interest. Instead of resulting in the successful completion of the task 1 month ahead of schedule, you could say, just tell them what threats, period, successfully completed. I wouldn't call it a mission, right? It's not a mission.
Project.
Project. Instead of saying 1 month ahead of schedule, successfully completed a project to say ahead of schedule or something like that. Performance management, define, plan, led for successful projects.
I'm sorry, you said that successfully completed the project just 1 month ahead of the schedule? Or
I would just say successfully complete a project ahead of schedule. You could say something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was me trying to quantify it. That's why.
No, and that's good. That's good. It's just the 1 month. It's just a little vague. It's like, okay, all 10 were completed 1 month ahead of schedule. I guess if it was a package of 10, you could say that.
It was a package of 10.
It was a package of 10. Okay. So yes, I mean, I might add that back. I might, once I see it, I may be like, hey, let's put the timing back. But for now, I rather almost have more white space. Performance management, defined, plan, led for successful projects focusing on intelligence, information gathering, managed for direct reports, partner with cross-functional teams resulting in a 20% efficiency gain.
I see that's coming already. 20% increase.
No, yeah, I mean, it's just not. I almost want that out.
Okay, I will get that out.
Yeah, achievement I like. Coordinator warfare officers, ashore or afloat. You can get rid of ashore and afloat.
Ashore and afloat.
Okay. Yeah, say supported Navy cryptographic warfare officers by collecting, deciphering, and translating 300% enemy communication languages. How many foreign languages?
4.
So say and 4 foreign languages.
Mainly
generated
was Russian.
Okay. Generated 15% more intel than peers. What does that mean? How do you quantify that?
So like, let's say everyone come like a 5 pages or 6 pages of intel, what they have. So I had close to 40 pages and I put the 15% as very conservative. It's probably like a 10 times more.
Well, wouldn't be so conservative then.
Okay.
Because then it almost looks like bullshit if it's a 15%, but if you're like, I had triple the number of pages or double the number of pages, so you could say generated over 50% more intel.
Mostly,
I wouldn't be shy about that if that's the truth. Problem solving, develop standard operating procedures. I mean, they're going to be like, well, what if you just write a lot of words? What if you're just wordy and so they get the same message across in 2 pages, what takes you 7 pages? I mean, that's what someone might be a jerk to say that, but develop standard operating procedures for entry and advanced level language and analysis training program for 20 sailors. Resulting in a 30%.
So if you want, I can actually go back. I know we are running out of time, but what I mean by that, for example, 15% more intel, it was just, for example, if they give like a little background, just one background, I would go actually look at the historical perspective, what they're planning. So that's what I mean by like, it was all fit in, trying to give them as big of a picture as possible.
Yeah, so it's not really more intel, it's just more thorough reports. Calling it intel might be a little bit disingenuous because it's almost like you were providing more you're providing more insights and more intelligence in the sense of that you're giving a more complete picture. But I don't know.
I would use that word.
Do what?
I use word insight, more insight.
Yeah, but saying 15% more insight just sounds weird. Like, how do you measure that? Like, how do you know that was 15% more insightful? It's a very subjective thing. For the percentage increases, we want to have something where we can be like, that's how I calculated this, you know?
I see.
And being like, so my reports were 10 pages and his were only 3. I don't know if it's the right
I see.
thing to hang my hat on. You're already quantifying by talking about translating over 300 plus enemy communications. I think that's good. I think you can get rid of the generate 15%. I think it looks like forced quantification again. And the same thing with this problem solving, develop standard operating procedures for entry and advanced level language analysis training program for 20 sailors. Resulting in a 30% improvement in workflow flexibility and 100% mission continuity. What's workflow flexibility?
Workflow flexibility, again, this is, I think, bullshitted language, but basically there's a streamline in the process. Like instead of working through like 6, 7 different teams, 2 people in charge, and they basically know when to send information, whom to send it, when to report it. And I use the 30% improvement again. It's more of a arbitrary but very conservative. But like they used to spend, let's say, close to a day or 2, and that whole process came down to 4 hours. And so
I think we should say that. I don't think we should call it a workflow flexibility thing. It sounds more like a time efficiency gain.
Okay.
So I would say develop standard operating procedures for entry and for 20 sailors, resulting in it was a program for 20 sailors, but then was the program used across a larger?
I was told after that they used the program, because what was happening was I was waiting for my clearance to come through, and I didn't have anything to do since I knew the language as well. I should train the people to make sure that when they qualify them to do the job, so they're far better at their job than because sitting there, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, I almost want that bullet gone.
Problem solving, okay.
And I want achievement second. So I want leadership first under Navy. I want achievement second. And I want performance management third. And I may change the names of these. I don't necessarily want to call them leadership performance, but like, let's change that order and get rid of the problem solving one. Because we're going to need the space. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, we're coming up on time.
Yeah.
It's a long first session, and I know it's a lot. We kind of went really deep into your resume. We gave a lot of your story. We can call it now. But what I'd like to see from you is, by Monday, if possible, next week, a new revised resume with kind of what we talked about.
I'll send it a lot earlier than that. I was going to say if I can send it like Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah,
that's possible.
That's fine. I won't be able to get to it Saturday, Sunday, but I can start taking a look on Monday.
Yeah.
And then definitely definitely bother me, especially today, tomorrow, if I haven't sent you the stuff, like the template and stuff like that. Again, we need to get it to 1 page. We need less flowery language. We need more direct bullets. We need shorter bullets. We need more in the format of an actual investment banking resume of transactional or selected transaction experience, selected engagement, selected projects, something to make it look more like the traditional. Let me see if I can find one. And you're looking at my screen, right?
Yes, I am.
Let me try to show you what I mean. So experience. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. I don't think. Here's an undergrad resume template. This is not. This is more for undergrads coming out. You get an idea of the spacing. The bigger name at the top. 2 to 3 bullets. It's very clean. This isn't what I wanted to show you because there is a.
Patrick, I don't mean to be rude, but I have heard the.
Yeah, you got to go too. Yeah, so no, you're not being rude.
So sorry.
No. So let's just coordinate. Let's do another one in like 3 weeks or so because I think there's still a lot to go through. I want to talk about your LinkedIn and all that. Okay.
I will definitely reach out and ping you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, good stuff. Talk soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye. And thanks to you, my listeners at Wall Street Oasis. If you have any suggestions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to send them my way, patrick@wallstreetoasis.com. And until next time.